Hello, living large people. The next functional activity I'm going to show you is kitchen mobility, otherwise known as getting around your kitchen. This is another one of those activities that can incorporate a lot of different movements, including those high amplitude side stepping, low and high reaching, and also back stepping. Pretty common, so I'll be showing you lots of different movements that are common to the kitchen. So stay tuned. So the first thing in kitchen mobility that I'll show you how to do is dynamic reaching low into the oven. So I have put in a Dutch oven into this oven, and I'll show you how to do it using those big high amplitude movements that are being taught in the Living Large program. So what's really important to remember with kitchen mobility, especially reaching into the oven and potentially lifting something very large out like what I have in here, is using that 6 to 8 out of 10 perceived exertion. And so what I have in the oven today is a large 25-pound Dutch oven. So it's even more imperative that we use those big, large, high amplitude movements and get that perceived exertion up to that 6 to 8 out of 10. So first up, I'll show you using the big walking to the oven. What I want you to do is, if need be, put a hand onto the countertop, take a big step back to lift open your oven. Squat low, bend at the legs and not at the back. Then get as close as you can, squatting nice and low. Big lift, reach out, pull it out. Now, like I said, this is 25 pounds, so it's fairly heavy. So I'm going to want to get that onto a safe surface. And as you can see, I can put it onto the stove top, which is heat resistant, and I also have a oven mitt laid down. So then, again, getting nice and low, bending at the knees, big movement, close it back. Notice the big side step and back step as I reach and open the oven. So, a little tip and trick, if something's really heavy to get it around your kitchen, is to use the surfaces that you do have. So sliding something heavy on it, and then bringing it over to where you need it to be. So another very important task in kitchen mobility is dynamic reaching to high surfaces, such as your high cabinets, the ones that are above the stove or microwave, and just getting things out of those high cabinets that you may need to use for cooking, or say you keep your glasses or plates or anything up there within the kitchen. So I'm going to show you how to use those big high amplitude movements in doing so, and also keeping my perceived exertion up to that 6 to 8 out of 10. So first, I will show you a dynamic reach to the highest cabinet. Let's say I'm cooking at the stove top here and I need some oil. I will first need to get myself nice and square, big reach up, big open, step back if you need to, but if you feel balanced enough, you can also hold on to the countertop with one hand if you need to. Big reach up, pull the oil out. Again, use the surfaces around you if you need to move around that oil, especially if you're having a little trouble with perhaps a tremor or if things are pretty heavy for you. Also, keep in mind that you can use that big side stepping to head over to other cabinets. Let's say it calls for some hot sauce. Bring that over. Let's say I'm going to make some rice. Again, I will be using those big side steps and also big movements. Always making sure I keep things in front of me. Next up, I'll show you how to do low dynamic reach to your lower cabinets and shelves within your kitchen. Again, using those high amplitude movements and keeping my perceived exertion up to that 6 to 8 out of 10. So let's say I'm cooking and I need to get down to the low shelves here to get out a pan for frying. So what I can do is big walking, come up, use a tabletop or the countertop rather for support. Drop down to one knee if you need a little more time. Sometimes these pans and things in the lower shelves are typically the heavier versions. Lift it up big. Be sure we're using the surfaces around us in case we need that. Again, using the surface here, big step up. Not forgetting to, of course, close this. Then do your big step up, close the cabinets. There we are, you have your pan. So the final functional task that I wanted to show you for kitchen mobility is dynamic reaching into your fridge and freezer. So Some of you may have a deep freeze or a side-by-side fridge freezer. What we have here is a top with a chest freezer, and I'll show you some of the strategies I would use to do some dynamic reaching into that. We'll incorporate some turns at the waist, like some of those exercise that you may be doing, some back stepping, and some big high and low reaching, all while being safe and using those high amplitude movement patterns, as well as using that 6 to 8 perceived exertion. All right, so as I approach the fridge, I'll stand square, big steps. Taking a big step backwards, I will open up the fridge. Once the fridge is open, take a big step in and begin reaching. Now for this, if I'm going to need to get out some milk, if I feel comfortable, I may be able to turn and place it on here using big turn at the hips, but what might be a little safer is taking that big side step to open myself up, getting out and placing everything that I might need from the fridge. I personally prefer the big turn step. So, closing the fridge, big step back, and close. Now let's say I need to get some vegetables out from the chest freezer. So, big side step, big step back, might drop to a knee if I really need to reach low and be down there for a while. Maybe I need to organize things. I can then easily reach in and grab my vegetables. Big step up, reach down, close, and a big turn step. And there we have it. That is reaching into the fridge and freezer. And that is the end of kitchen mobility. Thank you for watching.